Fuck plugs. End it. Go fuck a refrigerator, Peckerneck. End it.
So, hi, welcome to Binge Buddies Automatic Pig. With me, your host, as always, Bryan Dressel. With me, as always, is Matt, Zombie Dog, scrolling really quick to look for a good name, Elliot Ness, Dykes.
I had that last week.
Good. That's your nickname.
Consistency, Matt.
Is this going to be another Resident Evil thing where my nickname's the same every week?
Yeah, we're just gonna try to build on a Zombie Dog. No, I'll give you a new one. It's okay. I'm scrolling really quick here, and obviously Elliot Ness speaks to me for you because I picked it 2 weeks in a row.
I mean, to be fair, The Untouchables, the film, did come out the year I was born, so you know.
All right, fuck it. It's on the list. Matt, RoboCop, Zombie Dog Dykes.
Another 87 film. I'm happy with that.
No, it's from
Thank you for your cooperation.
From part
Good
two.
night.
Sorry.
No, it isn't. No RoboCop from part 3 from RoboCop 3 meets any list apart from worst recasting decision ever.
Fuck that movie.
We'll find out next week because I've never seen 3. We also have Ryan Ed Tom Bell Lootens.
Ed Tom Bell.
I
know it, I think.
I know you've seen it. I would bet my next paycheck on it.
Ooh, that could be a lot of money.
I know.
Can I jump in? Can I jump in to steal the points here?
Nope.
I have no idea.
You just Google it. I can see him. I can see the reflection of his glasses.
I'm Googling it. Ed
Cheating.
Bell. Oh, No Country for Old Men.
Yeah.
Yes.
Tommy Lee Jones.
Yeah. That's why I thought for sure you'd know it. Like, it's Tommy Lee Jones' character.
It's been a hot minute, but I remember when that movie came out, man, like I would watch it and I would think about one angle. I would watch it again and think about the other angle.
Yep.
There's so many different themes to that movie. It is ridiculous. And I love it because every time you watch it, it's something different.
Didn't love it enough to remember his name, though.
Dude, it's been a hot minute. When it came out, I probably went to the theater 4 times and watched it.
It was such a good movie.
It is a very good film. That's like peak miserable Tommy Lee Jones as well.
Oh, yeah.
Like just the whole film is just like
everything sucks.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes. All right, so here we are. If you didn't notice, we are down a member this week. One buddy is not here to binge with us. Joel had to go see a concert. I guess that was more important. It did seem like a really cool concert. I wish I could have gone. But it did make
Who goes to a concert at 10 a.m. or whatever time it is in your time zone?
It'd be 11 a.m. and I think he had to
11.
travel to the concert, so he's not available to be at his computer, is what I think happened. I actually didn't ask because I'm a terrible friend, but that's what I'm assuming happened.
He mentioned it in the thread. I just can't remember what concert it was. I think it started with an A. I could be very, very
It was the orchestral concert of Nier Automata, the game. So
See, I knew it was an A.
or Replica or whatever. I don't play Nier, so I don't know these games at all. But I think he and Alex had a great time. So cool.
Gold jacket, green jacket. Who gives a shit? Rest in peace, Carl Weathers.
God, Carl Weathers, man. I'm gonna miss that guy.
Yeah. I mean, thanks for meeting me at Burger King.
He's just so funny.
Just the way that he puts the emphasis on Burger King in those scenes as well.
Everything about him in most roles is amazing, but him in Arrested Development, woo!
He's
some
so
of the
good.
funniest shit I've ever heard.
Absolutely.
Anyhow, now we've done our brief little remember Carl Weathers part. Let's talk about RoboCop 2.
Do we have to?
RoboCop 2 is not a bad movie.
It's not.
I have
Next
not.
week is worse.
Yeah, of course. And then the week after, woo! But I had thought for sure I had seen RoboCop 2. I think I remember last week saying like, "Oh yeah, I'm excited to watch it again. I like this movie." Yeah, I had definitely not seen all of it. I turned it on. I'm like, "What the fuck is going on?" Like, is this how this movie starts? Like, I don't remember this at all. It wasn't until like almost 45 minutes in. I'm like, "Oh, this is where I picked it up." I must have watched this on TV because I don't remember the majority of it.
Either
like
you had a
that.
really dodgy DVD that just cut off the first 45 minutes.
I mean, I probably would have rented it from Blockbuster, so that tracks. But yeah, I really enjoyed my time with it. This is a very fun movie. I'd put it in the same camp that I would like Terminator 3. Like, oh, this is not a great movie, but it's a fun movie with robots killing people, so I can watch it and
Yeah.
have a good time. I think the ending is way worse than the first movie's ending, which I also am not a huge fan of. But this one kind of seemed like it tried to replicate that ending in this sort of just like, nope, the bad guy's dead, so we're not here anymore. Like RoboCop's job is done. So why would we keep watching the movie? It's like, well, because of the story. Oh, right, you don't give a fuck about story in this movie. Okay, moving on. But yeah, all in all, solid watch. I had fun with it. It made me laugh way more than I thought it was going to. Some really funny shit in here. I appreciate that. That's my hot take. Matt, what about you?
I think the adverts in this one are some of the funniest
God,
out of all the
one.
RoboCop films. The suicide one is so funny, like, which is not something I would normally say. Like,
No.
suicide is not a funny thing, but just like that's what you're doing. That's an advert for basically a phone company, like a dude committing suicide.
I mean,
But I love how it starts because it's just straight into the advert. And it's like they get Magnavolt. I mean, go into that in a bit more detail because, oh my god, like just the dude dead carjacker falls out. He gets in like all smart, and he won't even run down your battery.
that one is so
fucking...
good. Just the dude just getting roasted in the front seat is just so funny.
Because what I like about that is you don't know if this is the actual film or if it's an advert, and then when it actually comes into the advert, it's even funnier because of that. But yeah, I actually like the film. I think it's one of those films where they could have done with a couple more months of pre-production and refining the script. Not having the writer writing the script on set would have been an improvement as well, I think.
Usually a good idea
Yeah.
to finish your script before you start shooting. So,
hey, Die Hard did it just fine. Just fine.
Well, okay, sure.
Okay,
sure.
well,
it
yeah,
can happen. Okay, yeah. Still, better advice to do it is all I'm saying.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. But when you're thinking on the
thing...
fly and you've got a cool ass movie like Die Hard, it works.
And there is one thing that could have made this film 20% better, I would say. Like a huge margin, like, of improvement all of a sudden if they'd have done one thing, and that would have been to bring back Basil Poldoris for the score. Because what the fuck was that score? Like the weird operatic voice going, RoboCop! What?
Here's the okay. I wanted to save this until we were actually recording because I knew Matt was going to violently disagree with me. I'm going to throw it out there. I don't hate the score. I think the originals is much better, but if you never had heard the originals, I think this still works.
Yeah, but it's RoboCop
I'll give you that
2,
it works.
So
it
works. It does work.
It works because it fits like the same type as in one, but you can definitely tell that there's a difference. I don't really have that much of a problem with it.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. Like, I didn't hate it. Like, I after hearing you last week, just full blown, like they ruined it by not having this guy's music back. I'm like, okay, it's definitely not as good. I full-heartedly agree.
But it did not take me out of the universe.
Yeah, it didn't make me go like, well, fuck this movie. I'm like, nah, it's fine. Like, I wish it was better.
Yeah,
but I feel that about the whole of RoboCop too. So like, that's par for the course.
I mean, I don't hate the film because of it. I just think it could have been better with Basil Poldoris' score because it's such an iconic theme. It's like having a Terminator film without the Terminator theme because it's not even like
and it didn't work very well. Exactly,
and it's like the composer doesn't even try to mimic the RoboCop theme. It's just something completely different, which I kind of understand in one respect of like, oh well, let's let them do something else. It's only the second film, but when you have something as iconic as that theme, you gotta have it in there.
Sure. Yeah, no, that makes sense. I mean, that's when I fired up the game on Steam Deck and the music started from the first movie. I'm like, oh, this is RoboCop. So yeah, I definitely see what you mean. Ryan, I'm going to give you a chance to give a hot take. What were your feelings on this?
So I had only seen RoboCop 2 one other time, and I think it was on TV. I can't remember. But I was young, so this is my hot take watching this. Three I can't remember for the life of me, and there's probably good reason for that. Which is fine. I'm rewatching it currently. I'm like, what am I watching? But two is, you know, does it live up to RoboCop 1? No. Is it still entertaining? Yes. There are a lot of good things that are working for it. Much like 1, the villain is very despisable and despisable. Is that a word?
I think so.
I think you can add a bull onto any word. So yeah. Sure.
Potato.
Much like the guys in the first one, Tom Noonan as Kane really makes you just hate him. And then, of course, the one flaw in this movie is the whole psychologist aspect. She was a waste of space, but we can get into that later. But the villains were great. Like, even like the Kane's woman, like she was just you could tell she was a drugged out person who just resided with power. And especially got that when the young kid, and that young kid, man, that kid deserves all the credit of this movie. He is fan-freaking-tastic.
Can I pause you right there? Because I have to talk about that kid for a second.
Yes.
1 second. So that kid is Gavin something.
Gabriel Damon, I think.
Yes, Gabriel Damon. 100% Gabriel Damon. All right. Gabriel Damon was extremely famous in my household. Extremely famous. My sister had the biggest crush on Gabriel Damon of any woman known to man. I had to see every movie with this fucking kid in it that was underrated R for my entire childhood. She'd put it on loop. Our copy of Newsies warped, where he came out of the gate at one point because she watched it so many times. Sorry to my sister for outing her here. But so this movie starts and this kid's on screen. I'm like, who the fuck is this kid? And my wife's like, I have no idea. I'm like, no, he's totally a famous kid. Like, wasn't he everywhere? Like, he was a super famous kid. And she's like, no, he definitely wasn't. Looked him up. I'm like, fuck, nope, just famous in our house.
He was in an episode of Star Trek Next Generation as well.
He's in a bunch of stuff. He was a working kid actor. He just wasn't, the largest kid actor known to man, unless you lived in my house.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, just the movie, it's enjoyable and it's still R, so you've got a lot of good violence. Some of the violence is definitely overplayed. They're trying to show mass casualties, but when you see people just like, oh no, I fell, oh I've been shot, like I'm just like, it takes you out of it. But so this movie is flawed, but it's still a decent watch. That's my habit.
The film feels, it's like when you look at like the gore in the first one, and then when you watch the uncut version, you can kind of see where it was trimmed. The second one kind of feels like it's been trimmed as well. Yeah. Like the bit where they cut open Duffy's chest, it feels like there's more there, and especially where they extract Kane's brain later on in the film, where it's just all kind of like it's shots of the machinery and people's face, and then just all that sound design of like the bone saw going, like the drill going through the bone and everything. Feels like there was a lot more there in the original cut, but it was just kind of trimmed back. Maybe it kind of feels like that kind of like where we're cutting away from the violence thing, but like you have all the sound effects, but
for me it rings of there's something about Paul Verhoeven, which we didn't really talk that much about him as a director last week. I think we just mentioned that we liked him. But Paul Verhoeven knows how to use violence to tell a story. The violence is there as like window dressing. It's part of the set dress. It's part of the story. It's never there just to be like, look at the squishy bits. Like, it's always very motivated. And whenever somebody tries to pick up the torch from Paul Verhoeven, they rarely, if ever, understand that part of it. And RoboCop 2 really reeks of that. It's like, it's gonna be violent where the fun parts are. So like the squibs are still nice and juicy and they pop, but like there's way less of them. Because they're spread out amongst more people. More people explode in this one than the other one. Whereas if you know the first movie and you've watched it so many times, you'll know the people that really pop for plot reasons. Unless he's like in like the warehouse part where he's like taking out the drug cartel. But like beyond that, like those people are there was a reason we had to watch that guy brutally die for the point of the movie. And RoboCop 2 throws all that out the window.
Yep.
It just becomes like, let's stick more squibs in.
Yeah.
Great, more blood.
It's like, no, more wasn't what we were looking for. It was the point of it.
And even then, like, the violence in this movie, Paul Verhoeven did not hold anything back when, oh God, what's his name? Red Foreman, what's his name? What was his character's name?
Clarence Boddicker.
Clarence.
Boddicker, thank you.
I kept wanting to
When
say
he gets in the
Cassius.
neck, like he doesn't show it, but when he takes it out, you see the initial splatter. That's Paul Verhoeven. That is what he does. He does not leave anything to the imagination. You know that guy's getting stuck, so he doesn't show the knife coming out. He shows you the after effects. That is so Paul Verhoeven.
Yeah.
It's just, he does not limit anything to the imagination. It's like in Starship Trooper when, the guy gets sucked under the ground and gets up and his legs are gone. You knew that was happening. So he allows the viewer to make those things in their own mind, and then you see it. Whereas in RoboCop 2, it's just squib after squib. And we did not have to get mutated Emil, or is it Emil?
Emil, yeah.
Yeah, we didn't have to get that, but he went for it,
Yeah.
And you don't get any of that in RoboCop 2. So you can tell that it's dumbed down.
No, yeah, RoboCop, it feels like a studio sequel for, for better or worse. And like when you get quality people like Lawrence Kasdan, awesome director, making a studio
sequel. It was Irving Kershner.
Oh, Irving Kershner. Lawrence Kasdan. Yes, Irving Kershner. Yeah. Sorry, wrong old famous name.
But yeah, Lawrence Kasdan was the guy who wrote Empire Strikes Back.
That's it. There we go.
Directed it.
Yeah.
Brain. But yes, with like quality directors making studio films with a budget, you're gonna get a pretty decent product. I mean, like the best way to look at it is like look at Marvel right now. No Marvel movies, some exceptions, are bad movies. They might not be great movies, but they're all passable because they put talented people with a good budget, and you're going to get a passable film. RoboCop 2 is a very good example of that. And we're going to kind of get into details of it now, but it's quality film people, one comic book writer who's probably hated every second on set, but still very, very quality writer. I
do remember a quote from Frank Miller when he was talking about like screenwriting in Hollywood based on his experience with RoboCop 2 and 3, because I think he wrote 3 as well. And he was basically saying like it's like installing a fire hydrant and taking all the love and care of like making sure it's perfectly there. It looks great, it's amazing, and then when you finish, you turn on, you marvel it, and you just turn around and see a whole queue of dogs waiting to piss on it.
Yeah. Hold on. Wait. Frank Miller didn't like something.
I know. I know. It's like it's almost like it's like Alan Moore as well.
I was gonna say, let's get coffee with him and Alan Moore. The good Lord. But either way, like it's still put quality people at a product. You're probably gonna get a somewhat quality product. That's what we have with RoboCop 2.
I think when it comes down to it, like RoboCop 2, like knowing some of the behind the scenes stuff, like the film is very rushed. Like Paul Verhoeven wanted to come back and do a sequel, but he'd already signed on for Total Recall. The original writers wanted to come back and do the sequel. I think they even wrote a first draft, and then the studio was like, "No, we don't like that." And instead of actually taking the time, they just kind of threw all that out, brought in like Frank Miller, who, is like a hot property in the comics world at the time because of Dark Knight Returns and Batman Year One and all that sort of stuff. And then it was almost like, we'll just throw that in there. We'll grab some old sort of Hollywood director as well, throw them in, and it was very rushed. I think, like, Nancy Allen was talking about how her experience on RoboCop 2 wasn't as fun.
Yeah,
like she just felt like very ignored.
And yet
if you look at the character of Lewis,
the third one.
Yeah. Well, she came back for the third one. I think she was contractually obligated, but she basically said "kill me" in it,
and that's what happens.
Yeah,
more on that next week.
Yeah.
But I think that's what it comes down to, really. It comes down to the fact that it was just rushed. A lot of it was just rushed. Because, like, there was all these ideas that were in the original concept. Like, again, like, with Nancy Allen, like, what they were talking to her about originally. And because there was someone else, I think, wrote the script before Frank Miller. I should have written all this stuff down, really. But basically, like, they had this script, and she read it. Oh, this is really great. This is fantastic. And then they brought in Frank Miller, who did, I don't know if he was working off of the original story or if it was a brand new one or something like that. But then when they actually got to shooting, so she signed on for 2 and 3 at the same time, I think. And then they got to shooting, it was like, yeah, this is not what I signed on for. This is different. This is not as good. And I think that's where it kind of falls apart at that point, because it's like the Alien 3 thing. Like, how many different scripts did they write for Alien 3? But yeah, it's one of those things though, right? I think if they just took more time with it rather than try and rush out the sequel, it would have been better. Again, the same thing happened with 3 as well. Like they were rushing to get 3 done.
Well, 3 has the
And
problem
that's
of
why Peter Weller's not in 3 as well, because he was signed on for Naked Lunch.
3 also
And
has the we want it to be PG-13 like that.
yeah, there is that as well.
Huge other side. But let's try to dive into this movie a little bit, because this movie does try to attempt to tackle some stuff. I think exceedingly poorly. It's actually my biggest complaint with this movie, but it really tries to be like, no, we're gonna be the RoboCop that talks about the war on drugs. Like, we're gonna do it. We're gonna come up with this fake drug. It's called Nuke. You shove it in your neck, and I guess it
computer sound as you connect to it. Or something.
I guess
I think you push it.
Yeah, you like
push
squeeze
it. It's like a high. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really know. It doesn't look like a very good drug to me. Like, no one seems like they're having a good time with it. But I guess it's the most
it's just kind of like it gives you a high for like a split second, and then that's it.
Yeah, like Tom Noonan, he even takes like the experimental one. He's like, all right, you can mix it with this and that, and it'll be better.
I love that.
And then a second later, he's fine.
Yeah,
but literally, like, it looks like he's got lockjaw, and he's like,
that, and he's the proverbial Jesus too of this cult. I love it. It is a drug cult, and it's everything.
I mean, that's set up really well, I think, in the media break thing, where you see the dude who assassinates the Surgeon General.
Oh yeah.
Who does the Surgeon General actually wear like a general's uniform?
They can.
Okay, right. That's
like if they're doctors, they can, especially if they're in the military.
Oh, I guess that's true. Yeah.
It's just so weird. Like when I was saying that, is this just something that the film's done, or is this a thing? Because it's like the dude was like wearing a lab coat, but with like the gold stripes of like a Navy officer or something. I was like, is that a thing? But then yeah, like the dude assassinates him, and then he's just when people like they're tackling him and everything, he's just screaming nuke, nuke, nuke. It's like it's very kind of like cult behavior of that. And it is like it is a weird cult, like you said.
Yeah, and it's the problem with it for me is that it feels like, and I know I'm not trying to take shots at Frank Miller. He's had probably a way crazier life than I ever have, but it feels like someone who doesn't know anything about addiction writing about addiction. Because the way that they react to anything being addicted is just to scream they're addicted, or like it's so addictive, or I love it. Or we had the robot later, like way later in the movie, and way ahead of myself, of RoboCop 2, who needs full cans of the drug just to stay happy. Like it just doesn't compute.
Pause.
Me, gimme. I want my drugs.
Yeah, I was watching it with Charlotte, and she found that so fun. She's like, "Oh, that's little cute. These little cool things."
I also love that when they built RoboCop 2, they gave him a port to inject his drugs.
I'm just still trying to figure out how a robot can get high. Like, how does that even work?
I mean, I guess
it's the brain.
It's the brain.
That's
I suppose, yeah.
That's what they're trying to do, and that's where the psychologist lady, I can manipulate his brain and give him drugs, even though he won't feel the natural high. It'll just be in his brain. Man, get off that. Sorry.
Charlotte really hated that character as well. She's like screaming at the TV the whole time, going, "This is a terrible idea. Why does anyone think this is a good idea?" And I was like, "Well, no, nobody. She does, but nobody. She's supposed to be a psychologist. How could she think that's a good idea?"
Yeah, none of that character makes sense. Like the only thing about her that makes sense, like
the plot point, and it's stupid.
But like, I appreciate what they were trying to do of like, give us another boardroom person who's going to try to like get the upper hand of the other boardroom people. This one, they decided to make it a woman, which was, I appreciated that, because it took like the first movie's all male dominated with the exception of Lewis. This one is like, oh, women can be bad guys too. Like, I like that they tried to like do some stuff with it. It didn't feel as like chauvinistic. But then they just completely ruin her character, and it's a waste. And it's like, okay, so no, this wasn't any of the stuff that I thought it was. I was trying to give you awards, and you're just sucking ass.
Yeah, it's like they were trying to replicate that kind of the corporate conflict that they had in the first film between Dick Jones and Bob Martin.
Yeah,
and it just like they're then pitting this woman against Johnson, who in the first film he's just kind of like in the background.
Kind of like a yes man.
Yeah, and then they're elevating him to, I guess, the position that Dick Jones was in, like
I
second in command or
guess.
something now, maybe. But it just, I don't know. It just kind of feels, it feels forced. It
Yeah.
doesn't feel,
That's
it doesn't,
exactly what it is. It is
yeah,
a plot point that they're using to give the robot purpose by having a psychologist say it's okay.
Yeah.
yeah,
There's things that I like about it. Like I like the idea of bringing in a psychologist to try to like we need to find the right brain. I also like the whole plot point of trying to build another RoboCop. Like we have a really good RoboCop, we're gonna need another one, but that means we need more dead cops. Sorry,
yeah.
dude from the Dark Knight. Um, sorry, I'm very proud of that joke, and neither one of you really liked it. Uh,
You tried.
and I know what? I entertained myself.
That's
I'm
okay.
RoboCop 2 of that joke. Uh,
I didn't even
but
get it.
you didn't even get. Don't you remember the guy in The Dark Knight who just
Yeah.
screams out in the middle of that meeting, "No more dead cops!" He just kind of ruins the entire scene. Does he not
Oh,
ruin?
vaguely,
He ruins that
vaguely.
scene so much for me. He's just an asshole. No more dead cops. Shut up. Just shut up. That's what the whole meeting's about, you jackass. Anyhow, I still liked my joke.
We have derailed.
Yeah, I know. But okay, so I like them that they're trying to take more dead cops to make new RoboCops, but they're trying to make a new RoboCop 2. And the showcases of the new RoboCop
Oh,
2s
that is one
so
of the
goddamn
funniest.
funny.
It's good.
One of the funniest things in the whole series, I think, is that the one where it just walks out and it just pulls out and it goes, yeah, and just falls forward.
The one that just
that is
it walks
very
out of the box, just like it kind of drunkenly stumbles, shoots the lady, then shoots the guy, then shoots itself in the head.
And then
then
that
it falls
guy, you
out and
see
the
him
little
later, and
police
his arm is in a brace because he got shot in the arm.
Oh my no! What I love about that is like you see him getting shot now, and it cuts to that guy. The guy's the arm was he's still in the sling, and he just goes like that with his arms, like just holds it.
My
It's
shoulder doesn't hurt, but my face does.
Such a good moment is that. Like that is the kind of like more of that kind of level of oh we're gonna edit in this way and like because the editing's spot on that like the sort of like the stop motion work is really good with those models as well with
Yeah.
those RoboCop 2s. I think it's great. Like if the rest of the film had that kind of detail and yeah, if it was done more like that, I think it maybe would have been more impressive. I think the problem is there's a lot of stuff in here just kind of feels like last minute. Oh, we'll just throw this in as well.
Yeah, and like
That's what this whole movie is, I feel.
Yeah,
well, I mean,
Some
and
of it
knowing that
works.
it was written on set, this all tracks.
yeah.
Some of this works, some of it does not.
Like Ryan just said a moment ago, and he's dead on. We're way off the rails, but the problem is there is really no plot to this movie. It's a
There's that.
series of events, and you're either along for the ride or not. And like I was really kind of worried about it when I was watching it for this episode, trying to get ready to like prepare, because usually we try to use the story to move through the episode, but when a movie has no story, it's all just scattershot. Like I'm looking at my notes here, and I have a whole bunch about Gabriel because he's really, really good. I agree, he carries the movie,
Yeah.
but he is one of the darkest characters in this movie outside of Kane. When he's trying to kill Lewis, his one line of dialogue is so fucking brutal. He says, "You have a lot of breath, bitch." Like,
Oh,
as
I thought it said you look like you're out of breath there, bitch.
oh, is it that? I thought he said you have a lot. Like,
yeah, while
damn,
he's
you're staying
strangling her.
alive.
It's
Like,
while he's strangling her.
yeah, like
Yeah.
you have a lot left. But okay, maybe I missed it.
I thought it said you look a lot of breath there, bitch.
Either
So
way,
maybe it's that way. Like either way, it's
it's
dark,
fucking
though.
brutal.
Well,
He's
and
just
just-
casually
and just the
joking
way-
about murdering this cop. Like, fuck, he's
Yeah.
like
The
12.
way he handled, like, you look at him and he's got a boombox, like, oh, typical kid. And then he whips it into a machine gun. You're like, holy shit, this guy's
Yeah.
It is
ruthless.
hardcore.
Yeah.
It's a really cool sort of like design of a weapon as well because they like if you look at it in more detail as well, they literally have like the aerial attached to it, so it just looks like a stereo.
Yeah.
And then it's painted that blue color as well, and then he sort of like whips it open, and then it's like a fucking machine gun.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's a very, very, very good design of a character of like like the sort of like the costume design, the sort of like the stuff that they have with them as well.
Yeah.
And it's all very because like he's dressed like a kid, like for the first part of the film, and then like when he takes over, he's got like the little suit on, as well, like a businessman. And I think
Yeah.
it's some like really good sort of visual design of the character. Speaking of blue, and I want to mention this. I really love how RoboCop looks in this film, though. I think the sort of like the paint or whatever they did on it, like the way the light catches it, and you see the different colors, it looks more like blued steel, and it
Yeah.
looks more metallic. I think it's a very very cool look. That sort of like that more bluey colored.
He looks more sheen, like more
Yeah,
sleek.
Yeah.
And like when the damage is there, that sleekness doesn't go away. Like he's got that big old dent in his chest, but it just the blue on the color, like he does look he looks more authentic as a RoboCop, if that makes
yeah.
sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
Looks more metal. It looks more
Yeah.
metal. Like that's the one thing that the first one kind of suffers with a little bit more in the 4K restoration is on the close-ups you can kind of see that it's not actually metal. The armor it's more like kind of like I think it was a rubber composite or something for the chest piece or something in the first one,
Okay.
whereas in the second one it was more. I think the whole thing was like a fiberglass thing. So that, like they had to keep repainting the armor in the first one because any like after a day's takes or something like it would start to crack with the paint and pull away
Oh.
because it was more rubberized. I think the armor in certain places anyway. Whereas in the second one, I think it was more fiberglass, so it had that more of a they could do more of a sheen and with it.
Okay, well, that makes a little bit more sense. I mean, I didn't really even notice the look being that much different. I mean, I know he's obviously a little different color, but like it didn't beyond that, like the whole metal versus plastic, it didn't really ring too much for me. But I'm watching on a really shitty TV, so that might have something to do with it. Yeah, that
It still looks great in the first film. It's just like it still looks great in the first film. It's just there's a few close-up shots now with the 4K where like knowing that like they had to keep repainting the armor every single day or like sometimes whilst actually shooting you can kind of see it a bit more. You can see where it's kind of like almost not so much bubbling, but it's kind of like the movements pulled the paint away a little bit more, whereas with this one it looks harder. It's a weird way of putting it, but it looks like whatever it is the armor's made of is more rigid, which was probably hell for the actor to actually move around, and even more so than the first one. But
it looks good, so
it looks good. Yeah.
The thing that I like moving on just a little bit, one of the sequences in this movie, and it's kind of close to what we were talking about a little while ago, that I think is really good, because it's kind of horrifying, is when Kane and the kid and everybody take RoboCop apart.
Yeah.
It's a really good sequence. Like, and I get what they're trying to go for. They're trying to do like the Alex Murphy getting murdered scene again. It doesn't work nearly as well as that, of course, because you can't capture lightning in a bottle twice. But it still works. I like getting it from his POV. I like how cold and callous they are the whole time because they're treating him like it's just a robot.
Yeah.
What they just treat him?
It's basically like they're stripping a car.
Yeah.
Like that's how they're sort of like dealing with it. And what I like about that scene as well is it really shows you how tough RoboCop is. Like he's got one of them big sort of pneumatic drill things, and it takes one of those just to get the leg off.
Yeah, like it's like, oh yeah, he's built tough. But it's a really good sequence, and then it leads to a pretty decent puppet. When he shows up at the cops when they drop off the pieces later for some reason.
That was legit.
Yeah, like that's a good looking puppet.
Practical effects.
Yeah, like it looks good. I like all of it. It's a little dorky, but at the same time, I appreciate it because RoboCop's a little dorky. Like, I'm sorry, I love these movies, but they're kind of dorky.
And you got the sound of like Murphy just kind of it's like literally like he's got brain damage or something because like all of his systems, like he just cannot vocalize anything because his systems are so screwed.
That, and you get the few lines of dialogue that like they try to explain, like he's in constant pain, like this hurts him horribly, and then you get cut back to those like it's like, oh, this is rough, and it works. Like it's some of the few things in this movie that legitimately work.
Yep.
Does it lead to something great? No, it leads to Kitty Glove RoboCop, which is funny for a little bit, but it also just like knowing that the next one is next two movies are PG-13, and this sequence in this movie is like, oh, this is where life actually went, guys.
But this is the thing as well. This is another problem I think with this film is that leads nowhere. He's rebuilt, he's put back together, he has all these shitty directives put into him. It lasts 5 minutes on screen, maybe 10 at a push. Then he fries his system, and they're all gone again, and it's just back to regular RoboCop. And it's just like, so what was that trying to say? Like, I mean, what is that all about?
Can I take that?
Yes.
Again, filler. Stuff that's just
that's what I mean. It just feels like filler.
The script. It's just to drive the script and give us a little bit more time.
Yeah, it's not even to drive the script.
Let's have a cool
literally just to pad the time.
Where he walks out to a transformer and just electrocutes himself to reboot his system. That's all it was.
I mean, that is pretty cool. To be fair,
I really do like that sequence of the if you're.
I'm not saying the sequence is bad. I'm glad it's in there, but like, do we need it? No,
not at all. But like, I like the whole this would reset you, and he just stands up. He's like, on my way.
What I like about that is they're saying that as long as it could kill him, and then it's like, but it's almost like that thing of like, I think there's one of the lines or something where he must be going out of his mind or something, because he got like, as there was like the things we're going through, he had like 250 odd directives up to that point where they were going through it, and it was still scrolling through. It's like, how many other things did they actually put in him? Like, I wish I'd written some of them down, because some of them were hilariously stupid as well. There's like, I think one of them was literally like, if you don't have something nice to say, don't say anything at all. Yeah. That was literally one of his directives. And it's just like, he's a cop. I mean, I do like the sequence where it's basically the committee decide, like, where she's there and you got Johnson being like really sarcastic, like, oh yes, of course, you never see him like help a cat out of a tree, or going door to door for the Red Cross, and then she's like, oh, that's a wonderful idea. And then the look on his face is like, you fucking.
But it does lead to like some somewhat funny moments. Like, I like the whole like the moon is beautiful tonight. It's daytime. It's the thought that counts.
Oh, where he's reading the Miranda rights to the corpse as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of like broken RoboCop, but it is just kind of like this is the problem with hiring a comic book writer to write a movie. It's like they know how to fill pages. They're very good at it. And when comic books happen, it's usually for the best. You just get some really creative, beautiful splash pages. You get some really good artwork out of it. It works. But this movie really does feel like a comic book in a lot of not great ways. And this is some of it, like this filler stuff that's making this episode a little bit tough to kind of keep moving, because it's like there's no through line for us to follow.
And again,
no meat to it. There's no meat to the story.
You're trying to incorporate comedy in a movie that's not really comedic.
Yeah.
So
I think that's the thing. Like, the first RoboCop is funny, but it's not funny from a comedic thing. It's funny because of the satirical aspect. Like, it's literally it's funny because it's poking fun of the sort of like, the Reaganomics, the yuppie culture and everything that was like very prominent in the 80s, of like, the corporate people who were like, they call each other killer and shark and all this stuff. And then this one's like, well, we'll actually have them kill them then. Yeah. And and then like, the crazy kind of like media break things and the adverts that are like, come down to the Family Heart Center. There's, you can get a payment plan set up, but remember, we care.
We care. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just like,
lo and behold,
none of that is not really the comedy that we get in the second one. Yeah, the adverts are really funny, but it's not a satirical one. Like, the Magnavolt advert, really, it's not like funny in a satirical way. It's just funny in a this is mental. This is a mental advert kind of way.
Well, I mean, it's the old Detroit in this movie is like way worse than Gotham at its worst day. Like, it's just the worst city. Like, it doesn't make it funny. Like, it's just
like all the cops on strike.
You can't be Paul Verhoeven. Like, there's one Paul Verhoeven, and this movie tried to make another one. It's just not going to happen. Which is a bit of a bummer, but trying to move through the rest of this movie, which is extremely difficult to do. There's some stuff that I want to bring up. Specifically, there's one shot when they're trying to get after Kane, and RoboCop's on like the side of like the van truck thing, and they ram into a wall. It looks like there's a stunt guy in that suit, Is there a stunt guy as that truck drove into a wall between him and that guy could have been flattened?
I don't think
I
so.
mean,
I think that was a prop.
I think so too, but it looked like there was a person.
It looked real. But
It
then
really
RoboCop, I mean, but again, we just talked about the suit, and and then we talked about when he's taken apart, like there's good and then there's bad. And I think that this is that nice happy medium where it actually looks real. And they probably put some metal type of thing to get those sparks that we got too.
Yeah. Because it looked incredible. Like that's a really good, like either really good prop or really good stunt work. But either way, like that's a really cool sequence.
yeah.
Basically, if this movie had just tried to be the first movie, but make Kane the bad guy, I think it wouldn't have been that bad because Tom Noonan crushes it. Like whenever we get to the Tom Noonan stuff, it's great. That sequence.
I think when it comes down to as well, the budget was cut as well. So like I've seen Tom Noonan talking about like, see this the very first thing we see of Kane when he's on the media break where he's doing his little speech and it's just his face on the camera. That was supposed to be him in front of like 10,000 of his followers or something. But of course, budgetary, the cutbacks, it was just like his close up on a thing. So like there was so much told to Tom Noonan. It's like, oh yeah, you're gonna be like this, you're gonna be like so worshipped, you this cult leader. And I think that the problem is like there's a little bit of that in there, but we don't really see.
They don't flush it out.
Cult, yeah.
They don't flush it out. They really hammer it home in the beginning, but they don't. He at that point he's just a leader of a drug empire. There's zero cult reference after that. It's just people on drugs. You get the vibe in the beginning, and then it's just completely abandoned. Again, this, like Bryan has addressed, we're kind of all over the place because this movie is all over the place.
Yeah.
It abandons ideas and just pushes forward. It's still an entertaining movie driven by great performances, but man, it is lacking.
Which kind of speaks to the whole point of like it's being written as they're shooting, because it's almost like, oh, we ain't got enough money left to do that. Rewrite something else. So like if you keep doing that, you're gonna lose the elements that you've set up if you can't afford to do it. Like you can't afford to do,
which is really clear.
Talking in front of like 10,000 people. Like the way that Tom Noonan described it is, it sounded like you guys have seen The Warriors, right?
Yeah. Yep. Well, once, very very long time ago.
Cyrus in the park at the beginning of The Warriors, like it sounded like it was going to be that kind of setup, like him standing in front of all these people, like just like doing this big speech, and then it's cut down to just like his like a tiny like a close up of his face on a video that's sent into the newspaper, like the news reporters or something.
Yeah,
and it like that whole like it kind of speaks more to that. Oh, well, we can't afford to do that. Quickly rewrite something. And like the more you do that, the more it gets diluted down to the point where, like Ryan said, he's not a cult leader anymore. He's just a drug kingpin.
Yeah. And
did like quite a small organization as well, because like in the end you look at it, there's maybe like 20 or 30 people who work for him as well.
Yeah, like it just kind of gets lessened and lessened, but like you can feel it because they're trying to drive him into becoming RoboCop 2. Like that's like oh, we're kind of done with this drug kingpin plotline because we want Kane's brain in that big robot. So let's get him to that. And then they do that, and I don't mind Canebot or RoboCop 2 or whatever we want to call it. I know they call him RoboCop 2. Canebot I think is fun. It's a little ridiculous. I like the 3D head. It feels very, I don't know, Lawnmower Man.
That's an understatement.
But I have fun with it. I like the big goofy RoboCop thing. I like that they even the movie tries to attempt to be like, oh yeah, no, he's gonna be patrolling the new Detroit. Like everybody loves this thing. It's like no one. People would have been mildly okay with Ed 209 had Ed 209 not murdered everyone he saw. This thing cannot be on the streets. Just look at it. No fucking way would people be okay with this.
It looks like it's been designed to fight Godzilla.
Yeah, it looks like some jackass on BattleBots just had an unlimited budget. It's like, I'm gonna win every fucking fight. Like,
there's like, I'm sure I think there's like a radiation symbol that's stamped into its armor as well. It's like, that doesn't speak to me. That doesn't say I'm a friendly police officer. I'm here to serve the people.
Oh, and we created this wonderful thing where it can eject a TV from its face so it can glare at you. Like
with
teeth. No one's gonna want this thing.
It can't speak. It'll just go. It's Frankenstein.
Like it's an angry murder machine that really wants drugs. Like that's RoboCop 2. Um, I love it going after his old crew and murdering everybody. The Gabriel kid gets a really good death scene.
He does.
You don't ever see him get shot, which was, I get it, it's a movie. But it's like, oh wow, did the kid make it? And then you see him later, and it's like, oh no, he's dying.
Yeah,
And his scene with RoboCop is good.
It is.
Yeah.
I'm dying. You must know something about that. It's like, oh fuck yeah, he does. His death was way more violent though, kid. So you're lucky in a horrible way.
What I like about that is where he says he says to RoboCop, he says like, I'm cold, and he's like, oh, you're going to shock. I'll go get medical help or something like that. And he's like, no, don't leave me. And it's like RoboCop knows at the point that he's dying, and it's almost like the kind of the emotional side of RoboCop's taken over again. Of I'll stay with you, and then it's such a well acted scene as well, like from both the kid and from Peter Weller in that scene as well, because he manages to get almost like a mournful aspect there without doing much. It's in the voice. I think it's the tone of his voice in that moment, and then you have the kid who just like, kid, you're acting way too hard for this. Like, it's a shame that he didn't make it past being that kid actor, because I think he's got some chops there.
Yeah, if only he was as famous in the rest of the world as he was my house, it would have been.
With this sequence,
if only the rest of the world was your sister.
I'm not sure how I feel about that, but yes.
But what I love, I mean, you guys all hit the nail on the head, and it's not just the death scene, like the kid being a little drug kingpin, like when he's trying to make the deal with the mayor to like forgive their debt, and then have Nuke be like declared, hey, we're not going after Nuke. Like that was like, you believe the kid when he's talking this business sense and everything. So that was really well done. I just hated the plot point. Like it's just like, oh, well, let's try to sneak this in and have the mayor go to the drug dealers to try to again, shit just thrown in there for the sake of moving the plot.
We gotta have the mayor at this scene, so let's force him there. Because the problem is, like, you can see that scene with the kid dying, and actually a couple scenes in the movie, and it's like, this should have been the movie. This should have been RoboCop going, I need to get after this kid. I can't kill a kid. And have him, he gets shot in the head that one time. You get one glimpse of like I also had a son that would be roughly his age.
Yep.
That should have been the movie. Like that.
I agree.
That would have been a very, very good movie.
They have him stalking his ex-wife or his widow essentially as well. That should have been the movie. There should have been more of that, but they just kind of deal with it and just kick it fuck up.
It's just one scene, and then someone goes, knock it off, and he goes, okay, sorry, bad RoboCop.
Moving on. Back to my prime directives of speaking nicely.
Yeah. And it's just like the bit with Robo and his widow as well, where he's like, touch me, and it's cold. It's like, they made this to honor him. Yeah. Your husband is dead. And it's just like, fucking hell.
Great scene. Like, Peter Weller crushes it.
So much more you could do with that. Like, and it just, like I said, more time needed on this film. Like, it's rushed. It's so rushed.
But on the plus side, RoboCop does turn into David Bowie at the end, and that's pretty cool. Ryan got it.
It is cool damage, to be fair.
It is.
Oh my god,
very cool damage.
I was hoping like Scarface, but I like David Bowie better.
Yeah, in my notes I wrote down 3 of them. Like, I'm gonna see which ones I like better. I had Harry Potter, Scarface, and David Bowie. I went with David Bowie.
The David Bowie one works really well, though.
Well played, sir.
Thank you.
I tip my hat.
I still think my joke earlier was better, but whatever. As long as I enjoyed it. Do we have anything else we want to say on RoboCop 2 before we move into the end of this thing? This is a very scattershot episode, but I did like approaching it like that, so it's still fun to talk about.
I mean, I think
we'll chalk it up that we're all on Nuke. It's fine.
Yeah, we're all shitloads of Nuke.
Like another thing as well that they could have done more with is the fact that the corporation OCP is literally killing people, letting people die so they can buy the city.
Yeah.
And it's like, we're gonna engineer a police strike. There's like people are dying. Again, there should have been more of that.
Oh, now that you're saying more of that, there's one last thing I want to touch on before we get out of this thing. Since we're at the ending, I want to talk about the ending. Matt and I talked about it a little bit before we started recording, which is why I kind of forgot. So when I watched this movie 2 nights ago, I was very, very tired, as I mentioned earlier. Last half hour, I was kind of in and out. So I rewatched the last half hour today because I was so convinced that I fell asleep in the last half hour because they didn't resolve anything. There was no way this movie would end like that. So I had to watch it again this morning. Like, nope, that's just how they end it. Nothing is resolved. The evil psychiatrist lady who like just brutally murdered that Kane and just watched him die, just like, that looks uncomfortable.
Takes the fall.
Yeah. Well, we don't know if she takes the fall.
They allude to it.
They planned to have her take the fall. We don't see any of it. And then like Lewis throws out that one line of like, we're not gonna see, like, everyone's getting away with this. Like, this sucks. And he's just like, it's okay, we're only human. And then he like drills his head, like, oh, I get it. Like, but still.
Dun, 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 dun.
That was not the theme. Don't get me started on the music again.
Not a great ending. It really, really bothered me.
It's not an ending. That's the problem. I think. I think the problem. It just feels like it was a cut to credits.
Yeah, it's like Frank Miller's just in the corner writing away, and like, all right, so I've got the next scene. No, actually, we're just gonna stop. We're done. No, but
it's literally was like Frank Miller's like, I've got the ending. We're out of money.
Yeah, no. Sorry, Frank. Good try. Good luck with Sin City in the future. I'm sure it's gonna go great. Yeah. Any other thoughts on the ending? No.
I mean, like I said, it's not an ending, and it's one of those things where it's just like the old man in this is way more kind of like I'm evil than he was in the first. Like in the first one, you think, oh, he's just a, it's like I think even Dick Jones has a line that he's a sweet old man, and it's almost like the old man in this film turned into Dick Jones. Like he saw Dick Jones get shot out the window and went, I should be like that guy.
That guy had some good ideas. Yeah, I can see that. I don't know. I will.
He's more like Cochran from Halloween 3 in this one.
Yeah.
It's tracks. The best kind of practical joke, RoboCop. A joke on the people.
That guy was fucked. I will say this. I will watch this movie again, but it'll be definitely one of those like Sunday afternoon cleaning my apartment sort of movies. I'm like, I'll just put RoboCop too. Yeah. But with that in mind, we can move on to our favorite moments, lines, whatever you have, things to remember fondly from this movie is what we'll call it. I'll go first. This was not going to be my moment. No, I'm gonna go back because I don't really want it to be my moment. I don't want it to be the sad one. I was gonna go with the kid dying, but I don't really like that one. So I'm gonna go with
when that child dies.
Well, it's such a good moment. It's so well done.
It is.
But yeah, I don't want my favorite thing to be the death of a kid. So I'm gonna go with definitely my favorite moment being the death of other people and the revealing of the RoboCop 2s of the very, very fucked up ones, because it legitimately made me laugh very hard. Specifically the drunken stumbling one just shooting the gun. It can barely handle its own gun.
Shoots himself in the head, and then it sort of like falls forward, and then the little sirens like
Oh, that was good. So easily my favorite. Take that as my line too. I'll just as I rip their head off will be my quote too. Good shit.
Matt, you go, because I like my line and I want to keep it last.
Well, let's hope I don't take it then.
You won't.
I'm gonna go with a moment and a line, because I just love. I think the whole opening sequence where you start to see like what's going on, like the crime wave. I think it's really well put together. Where you see like the guy, the old woman, like the cans with the shopping cart full of cans, and the guy comes over to help her, and then like mugs her, and then he gets then mugged and beaten up by those two women, and then they run past the gun shop, which gets exploded, and then the guy's going and like steal all the guns, and then you have RoboCop pulling up, and then there's like that whole sort of like sequence is pretty cool. I think it's a really good setup. Didn't really pay off, but it's a decent setup to where we are in Detroit at the moment. And then I think the line, I'm looking at two at the moment. I'm gonna go with I'll go with this one. It's where the after the almost at the very end where like it's all been resolved. There's all the chaos is over.
Yep, not my line. You're not taking my line.
Good. RoboCop 2 is dead, and then you've got the lawyer guy who I think his name was Sphincter, which I think is hilarious. Right. If he's State Attorney Sphincter, who is mentioned in the news report, I just love the fact that like the fucking arsehole lawyer guy that we keep seeing is called Sphincter. And he just goes, it's serious trouble. So many dead and wounded. And then you've got Johnson go, there won't be any trouble from the dead ones. And then you just have the old man go, they'll have relatives. They always do. It's so like business-like of like, yeah, all these dead people that we're responsible for, they all have relatives.
That's frustrating. God damn.
My moment is when they the POV of them trying to hack or trying to dismantle him. I thought that was a really ingenious way of kind of putting you in RoboCop and what he's feeling. But my line is the line to end all line. It's the perfect way to end this. It's when RoboCop has all his prime directives and he's trying to be really nice. And he goes out and he sees young boys and he's trying to get them, waste makes haste, for time is fleeting. And the boy simply replies, go fuck a refrigerator, peckerneck. That's it.
Bad language makes for bad feelings.
Nope, you don't even need that. End the show. End it. Fuck plugs. End it. Go fuck a refrigerator, peckerneck. End it. Cut it.